Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sgt Neutral reporting for duty, and welcome to my first episode of the Darksiders Let's Play. So, basically, how this whole thing is going to go is I'm going to be playing through Darksiders. It's a game I really enjoy, and, hopefully we'll have some fun along the way. There's, as you'll quickly be able to tell, there's a ton of lore behind this whole universe, and it's really one of the best games that I've come across to in a long time. And basically how it's going to go is that I'm going to be spouting nonsense at you guys, and we are going to be hopefully not struggling too much, because I'm going to be punishing myself and picking the apocalyptic mode. Real good choice. And I'm going to be quiet during the cutscenes because they really are something special. So press X to attack. Thank you. And so here we go.
Since the dawn of time, the armies of heaven and hell have waged an endless war. Drawn to the conflict was the Charred Council, an entity bound by ancient laws to preserve order and balance. It held that any great power, unchecked, threatened the very fabric of the universe. In time, heaven and hell came to honor the Council and its laws, for none were beyond the swift and terrible justice of the Council's enforcers, a fearsome brotherhood known as the Four Horsemen. Amid the turmoil, the first humans emerged. The Council foretold that these weak but cunning creatures would someday be integral to the balance. Thus, a third kingdom was named, the Kingdom of Man. By order of the Council, a truce was forged between heaven and hell. The Great Pact was bound by 7 seals, to be broken at the appointed time, when man's kingdom stood ready for the end war, a battle that would bring balance and determine the ultimate fate of the 3 kingdoms.
Scientists
Alright, so that's how the game begins, and I gotta say, I really do have to love Darksiders for really just going after something as ridiculous as that. You know, basically, a lot of games, Ocarina of Time, things like that, Ocarina of Time being one of my favorite games, we'll start off, you know, fairly calm in the forest, you know, you're trying to get a sword, trying to check some stuff out, hoping everything, you know, works out well. Darksiders, you know, sets the tone real quick about what this game's going to be about. You are, essentially, one of the four horsemen of Apocalypse. You're War in this one. And you've been sent down. Well, at this point, you're not entirely sure, but you have basically just, you know, Heaven and Hell have decided to go toe-to-toe for reasons that, you know, you're a little unclear as to what's going on. The End War is supposed to be starting, and so, you know, that's how that's how this game starts, is by the, you know, real, good luck with that pistol, buddy, with the, destruction of, really, the realm of man. So, you know, the stakes are real high from the start. But, you know, another big thing is that you've got to appreciate just how powerful you are at this point in the game, you know, just how much health you have. Because you won't be seeing this for a very, very long time afterwards. This is really, you know, one of the most powerful points that you will be during the entire game. So enjoy it while you can. It changes very quickly. And then, you know, just the scale of this game is also just being established because you really have these monsters just running about. And just in the focus club. And so, you know that you're in for something pretty special, right? And it also shows you that you really have no clear allegiance. For example, the first fight you had was against demons, and now it's against angels. So really, you're trying to figure out what exactly is going on here.
What is happening?
War doesn't seem to be particularly thrilled about that. And so now we're back to basically 4, I'm going to call them skull containers, heart containers, life, whatever you want. And, you know, as a general rule, 4 of the skull containers will be a sufficient amount if you're playing normal or easy. But on Apocalyptic, as I'm sure you're going to be able to see a lot during this Let's Play, vanishes disturbingly quickly, especially in one of the dungeons that we'll see for a long, long time. You know, it vanishes real quick. There's certain enemies that can really just wipe you from the face of this. What the hell is going on? Oh, of course, angels too. So, you know, clearly you're not a friend of any of these factions. And so normally, and there will be moments where we're really just going to let the angels and demons do their thing and kind of just go after each other. So, as you can tell, it's a fairly heavy button mashing game. If you hit B, as I'm sure you've been noticed that I've been doing, that shows that you've weakened the enemy to the point that if you hit B, you can kill them in one shot. So this is called Hellgrowth. Hellgrowth is essentially vines and things like that, but, you know, more metal, because it comes from hell. It essentially means, there you go, demonic growth can be traversed, press A to jump on the surface and begin climbing. Pretty self-explanatory. And once again, you know, this is a tutorial that, you know, teaches you the mechanics of the game, but it definitely does not hold your hand. And if you're like me and you're a big fan of collectibles, do not worry, because out of this entire first section, there are literally no collectibles to be had. Hey! Well, this is... that's unfortunate. Alright. So... and basically, you're going to want to tap A once you're on those things to speed it up. And there are a couple of puzzles that we'll see later along the way that really kind of... come on. That really, pardon me, I completely lost my train of thought. That really kind of exploit that idea. A lot of it is platforming, but, you know, a lot of it is also Zelda-style dungeons and things like that. So right now it's really just a button masher, but as we go on, we're going to be going through some dungeons, fighting some bosses, meeting and then immediately killing some bosses, and sort of going about our ways. And so it's very dungeon crawler, beat 'em up type game. So it's really, I think, a fun combination that you don't see a terrific amount these days. You know, as you can see in the title screen, that we'll be seeing a good amount. This game came out in 2010, so this was sort of between Zeldas and things like that. So this was really at a time that this is when Diablo 3 came out and things like that, or was really being hyped up. And it really shows you that it was that whole dungeon crawler feel that people were really kind of looking for. So that basically, that orange gate that you saw, basically means you have to kill everything or solve the puzzle. Normally it's kill everything before you're allowed to continue. So basically, in Zelda terms, so what I love about this game is that there are little vignettes like that you can miss, especially during this opening sequence, that really, you know, it really just shows you just how everything's gone to hell, or gone to heaven, depending on how you look at it. And so it's really something fun. Just our standard. So basically, you can interact with the environment, miss terrifically, and in ways that you will discover are more and more important as the games go on. So once again, this tutorial does do a great job of sort of giving you a feel for all of the game mechanics, while not exactly, spoon-feeding you everything. You know, it treats you, it knows that you are, a competent human being. You've survived up until this point, however long it is for you. And so it assumes that you're fairly autonomous, therefore meaning you're an adult. So as you can see, we started off with 4 skull containers. I'm already down to none. And which basically means I'm not long for this world, especially coming up to this next little sequence. It's going to be one of those games, especially if you play on Apocalyptic, that you're just gonna die, and you have to sort of embrace that whole aspect of things.
Impossible. Abaddon. What is this? Where are my brothers? This cannot be. The final seal.
My lord!
How did this happen? The seventh seal was not broken!
Abaddon! What in heaven's name have you done?
I answer the call.
So remember how I was kind of talking about the scope of things? This is the first boss of the game that you fight. His name is Strahd. Basically, the lore behind this guy is that he is the most powerful demon, or one of the most powerful demons, and he's sort of regarded as one of Hell's champions. And so, once again, the whole scheme behind these kinds of fights, and really fights in general, is that you have to use your, left bumper to really kind of dash around and be able to dodge things. Otherwise, if you just run around like this, even if you're targeting like that, you're not going to be able to get away in time in order to really, avoid the damage. And trust me, when it comes to dealing damage, this game is relatively unforgiving, even in this first boss. I wouldn't be surprised if I died. See, right there. If you just walked normally, yeah, I'm going to show you. Of course you won't. Yeah. So if you walk normally, you're not going to be able to really dodge those things, so you really have to be able to quickly master these left bumper runs. I'm right-handed, so left bumper is the easiest for me. Alright. Come on, bud. Once again, just have to memorize the pattern and repeat. And we all make mistakes sometimes. Pick up the car, throw the car, right in the face. Really a couple misses right here. Not entirely sure he appreciates the way it's slamming into his face. And we all have to do stuff that we don't necessarily like, so doing this to help him. Really, in the long run, it's really going to help his maturity after that. He's a big boy, he grew up early, he still doesn't quite know what to do with his body. He's a little gangly. So we've just got to take it upon ourselves to teach him. I do apologize, I will randomly going off into tangents like that. That's just sort of my sense of humor. You'll also be seeing a terrific amount of sarcasm. Because Alright. Well, we get to discover something a little quickly here. Here's the game over screen. And restart at last waypoint. What's good to note about this is that even if you restart at the last waypoint, it will not drop you off. We don't need to see this again. It will not drop you off with the same amount of health. So you're not going to get deathlocked or anything like that, where if you're fighting a boss that you just don't understand and you came in with one skull container or none, you won't be screwed, essentially. You still have a chance to really, come back. I'm now back at full health. So even if you are prone to making mistakes, we all are, and you will make mistakes in this game. I will make mistakes in this game. The game, even on apocalyptic difficulty, does have this sort of built-in safety net, which, there's no shame in taking advantage of. So once again, back to Strahd. As you see, he's the first boss, so you can't really expect an incredible amount of depth. That being said, if you look at the design, the art behind this game is really something impressive, especially as we're going to get to some of the later stages, or even just when we get to the game proper, this being just kind of a tutorial level. You'll see really some of just the sweeping kind of dystopian views, and it's really, the art designs behind this game is really impressive. I really enjoy it. And if you're a fan of sort of, the lore behind heaven and hell and the Bible and things like that, there's a lot of these names here, a lot of design that really kind of encapsulates it, especially when it comes to the characters that we meet during the adventure. So here he is throwing cars. Never quite understood why, this guy can slam down on the ground and, make pillars of fire erupt. But no, he decides to throw cars. But hey, you know, I'm thankful for it. And another big thing that I'm sure you've noticed is that every time he slams down to the ground, you know, not just like that, but also like that, he will send out sort of this immediate shockwave that will damage Nemo. So in that way, it is one of those things where even though it doesn't seem like a telegraphed attack, it still very much is. So you have to be on your guard. That's going to be one of the recurring themes that you'll see a lot during these bosses, is that, you know, a lot of the first couple of times there will be attacks that don't necessarily seem telegraphed until you identify exactly what happens. They'll be quick, they'll be sudden, but, you know, you'll get used to them very quickly. So once again, see there, here we go. This is fun. I think it's such a shame what happened here. Now see, little things ultimately became helpless.
The law has been broken. And so have you, horseman.
And there we go. First episode.